Hi there, this is Asia. You may know me as Schacht, and today I'm going to show you how to use your Schacht rigid heddle loom for tablet weaving. So you can see I've got the flip all set up for direct warping. I've measured out my warp length, and it looks exactly the same as when you're direct warping like usual for weaving on the Schacht rigid heddle, except that I've removed the heddle. So now I've just got the frame of the loom, and I've already measured out my length, so I am just warping as usual. The reason I'm doing this is to measure out the length of the warps that I'll be using when tablet weaving, instead of having to, say, measure them out, cut them, and hang them on the loom like usual. I've actually never ever used the Schacht, or I've never woven without doing direct warping. So when I thought about tablet weaving, it just made sense to me to go ahead and use, since it's made for it, since it's really great for it, the direct warping method. Okay, so I'm back. Basically all I did was wind a little bit more onto the back beam, and I pushed the table against the edge, so I've got my hard table here underneath the loom, because I'm going to need to set my cards on something. So basically I've got my loop that I started out with. Going to go ahead and right at the end. Seems like blasphemy to cut such nice yarn, but here we go. Okay, and I always keep these here. So I've got all these set out already, and if you've warped on nice, if you wound your warp on nice and evenly, they're going to lay evenly here as well, so that's a plus. So I am going to use all 24 cards today. These are the cards, like this. You can get them, this came with a book, Card Weaving by Candace Crockett, or you can buy them separately. They came as a kit in the book. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start. My cards are numbered 1 through 24. And as usual, I'm going to keep them, I'm going to separate a warp strand, wind it through. I'm going back to front. I'm going to go ahead and use back to front on all of these. So it's not really as much a so I can keep them all even, and I'm not doing a alternating pattern. So basically we're going to let the yarn do all the work, which is what I love about the rigid heddle loom anyways, because basically I put all these great sock yarns on it and they make awesome scarves with not really a lot of input from me. So you can read more about card weaving. This is not really or tablet weaving. This is not really a discussion on how to tablet weave. But basically, so I've got my card threaded. I've got them, my AD side up, and I've got all 4. They're all going back to front. It's going to move evenly, and then I'm going to go ahead and take the end, tie the knot, tie a small knot at the end, and then go ahead and take this card and lay it flat here on my table. So you can see that they're all out of the way. So I can keep them one on top of the other. And that's just what I'm going to do for 23 more cards. Okay, so I've gone ahead and threaded all 24 cards. You can see they're all in order with A and D on top. And I've numbered them so you can see that they're all in order. So 1, 2, 3, all the way to 24. And I'm holding, now, done like this, and if your cards are even, or if your warp's strung evenly, you'll have this nice space in the middle, like that. This will be your shed when you tie it on. But right now, you want to go ahead and hold the warps together, and it's kind of a pain to do one-handed since there's so many cards. But you want to make sure, you want to go ahead and slide back and forth, make sure they slide evenly. And that's just because you want to make sure that you've threaded if you've threaded some on a card back to front and some back front to back, they're not going to slide. So this helps you later on. So I'm going to go ahead and tie a large knot here at the end. Secure the warps together. Just an overhand knot. Okay, so I've tied my overhand knot together. And what I would like to do is, okay, excuse me for the bumpy ride real quick. Got my camera attached to the beam here. Okay, does that show it? There we go. What I'm going to do is push these back. Make sure they're still all top to front, and they're fine. I like to use the idea behind this whole thing is to see how much of the flip rigid heddle that I can use, kind of manipulate for this. So what I'm doing is I have tied my overhand knot, all the warps together, and then for the dowel rod on the cloth beam in the front, I've just sort of hung that beam through the open warps here. So you can see it's holding it. So what I'll do, excuse me again, because you're going to have some bumps, and tighten the warp up. And I'll go ahead and tighten it more and stuff. But you can see that we've got the nice shed here for the card weaving to go, or for the weft to go through when we're weaving. And when we put tension on it, it'll be nice. So we'll go, oh, ratchet's not down. So you can see that, you can see that when I'm, sorry, so you can see that when we go ahead and weave, we're going to just turn the ratchets like that, and you'll see the weaving come towards you. And of course, the cards will stay here. You want to put a band around them if you're just not weaving like I am right now. But, and this will be up and down. Let gravity help you. But your work will just wind here, and you'll see that the shaft really holds a nice tension across the loom, across your warp, so you can go ahead and start tablet weaving, which is what I'm going to do. Hi there, so I'm back with my finished tablet weaving project on the rigid heddle. You can see my cards are still attached, and there's pretty much no room left for any more cards to be turned in any direction. There's a little bit of play here, but because of the twisting of the cards turning, there's just not enough room for anything more to happen. So I've released the tension on the pawls, and I am going to just go ahead and first of all just slide it off the back beam here. Because you remember I just, same as the direct warping, or when I use the direct warping method, oops, and they just come off. And we'll just cut those ends off, not a big deal. You can see I'm unwinding it here. And I could just cut them off the loom, but I wanted to show you, for also my last time when I tied the first warps on to the front apron rod, I used one knot. I undid it and did two because there was too much bunching that happened here. So you can see I've got a nice strap, nice long size for a bag. It'll work well. You can also see how the, I obviously didn't do any patterning, but you can see this undulating pattern that happens because I did 2 full turns of the cards, which is 8 quarter turns, and then I reversed directions. So you can see them going this way and this way. You'll see them. I'm not sure if you can see that sort of detail on the video, but we'll go ahead. I have pictures on my blog, and so you can take a look at it too. You can see this is where the turns happen, the little bumps. It's kind of nice, and it's fun. So doing all this is not to say, that you need a rigid heddle to use, to make, to do tablet weaving. Of course, you could always use C-clamps or an inkle loom or whatever you like, but it's kind of neat because I have the rigid heddle and I like to be able to use it in different ways.